Hello and welcome back to the Shark Source podcast. I am still completely lost on what episode we're on, but I think it might be 10 or 9, something like that. I'm joined once again by Shaden Shergill, and we got a lot to cover today. We're going to be talking about First, we're going to start out with the All-Star Game jerseys recently released. We're also going to talk about Bobrovsky, the Sharks, and Oilers in general, and we'll talk about the trades with the Oilers. We'll talk about Sagan's response to the criticism versus Ben's, and a few other topics. So, Shaden, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me down here.
Yep. All right. So here we go. I don't know if you guys have seen, but I'm going to have the Adidas Parley, that's what it's called, the jersey, as the thumbnail of this video. So you should be seeing it unless you're listening but not watching. So that's what we're going to talk about. So these are the All-Star Game jerseys. So they're not doing their typical one where they used the NHL logo with different colors for each division. They're doing team logos with black and white, and apparently the gimmick of this year is that the threads are made from plastic, so it's supposed to be like an ocean thing, which they're trying to fit with San Jose, which I'm going to get into this later, but they've clearly never been to San Jose if they think it's at all an ocean area. But anyway, so that's sort of the whole thing. But apparently, because it's made of this plastics, they can't use color, or that's what it seems like. So all these jerseys are pretty much black and white. So that's except for the collar, which is teal for the Sharks. But Shaden, what do you think of these jerseys?
Well, first of all, it's going to be interesting to see how players not get their teammates mixed up, because all the jerseys on the West are like black and white, and on the East it's like gray and white. So it's going to be pretty confusing to the players on the ice. I'm fine with teams wearing their home jerseys at the All-Star competition, but I just feel like it's the All-Star game. You need different jerseys. But I don't like the black and white. It looks so out of place. I don't like the team logos on there. I think last year's were pretty decent. But I don't know. Something about these just bug me.
Yeah, I absolutely can't stand the team logo. And the reason is why would I buy an All-Star Game jersey when I just have a regular Sharks jersey? I was thinking if they were going to do some teal-themed All-Star jerseys, and at that time I thought I was going to go to the game. I thought, well, I'll get an All-Star Game jersey, but, unfortunately they don't have that. It's just it's pretty much just an uglier version of the Stealth Mode jersey, the Sharks black one, and the white one is just like an uglier version of their away jersey. I don't see any reason to buy it.
And, I just feel like I have no words, it's just going to look ugly on the ice, when you're going to watch this on TV, it's just going to look so ugly out there. Like, I don't know why they went with this direction. I don't know what was wrong with the previous years. I don't know why they changed it up, but, I have no words, to be honest.
Yeah, no, here's the thing. They're selling both the Fanatics version and the Adidas version. Now, if you want an authentic jersey, you buy the Adidas. My Sharks jersey is a Reebok, which they don't sell or they don't make anymore. It's what they used to use. So now they make two kinds, Fanatics and Adidas. The only one that actually uses that recycled bottle material is the Adidas. So if you want one that is actually made out of plastic bottles and stuff, which I think would be pretty cool, you gotta be ready to break the bank. It's $224. So for that price, you could get glassed seats for a Sharks game, or you could get like okay seats for the All-Star game, since they're price gouging on those tickets. If I wanted to get the cheapest tickets to get into the house at the All-Star game and a jersey, I'm dropping close to $400, maybe over $400. So I just think it's a big scam. And also, I shouldn't have to mention this. They should know this if they're putting the All-Star game here, but there are no beaches in San Jose. San Jose, it is touching the water, but it's touching the bay, which is freezing and polluted, and you would not want to swim in there. So I don't know why they're doing this whole beach theme and ocean theme, but I just wish they had regular jerseys.
Yeah, and another thing that's tonight, I'm pretty sure they're gonna release the final 4 players for the All-Star game. The last
today.
Yeah, I think around tonight or something like that.
Yeah, so. I was hoping that it would be it would be this afternoon so we could do it for the podcast, but it's all right. If it's a Sharks player, I'm gonna make a post about it. If not, I probably would just ignore it. But I don't know who it'll be. But yeah, I mean, again, a lot of people complain about the All-Star game, and they definitely are doing a lot of things wrong. But I mean, I'll still watch it on TV if I'm at home. I might have a game myself, but I think if I'm at home, I'll watch it. But I'm definitely not going to go. And I think this jersey is just another sign that they're sort of out of touch with their audience.
Agreed.
All right, so now we're going to move on to some current news. This broke today. Sergei Bobrovsky will not travel with the Blue Jackets to Nashville. I'm going to try and pull up the exact quote of what they said, but it doesn't seem like it's an injury. If this quote is right here, it said, here's the GM, an incident occurred in which Sergei failed to meet those expectations and values. So we made the decision that he will not be with the team for tonight's game. This is an eternal matter. There'll be no further comment at this time. So I'm not sure if this means if it had to do with something on the ice, because he played very badly against Tampa, and he's been playing very badly this season. We'll get to that. But do you think this was something on the ice, or do you think he did something off the ice, where they're feeling like they need to punish him?
Well, I think it's kind of a mixture of both. First of all, I forgot where I read this thing. It was from some Jackets TV, pre-game host guy, but he said that Tortorella and Bobrovsky had a heated exchange, like when Bobrovsky got pulled, and Bobrovsky and Tortorella have never really gotten along at all, so that might trigger something. I also feel like this is my own assumption that he might have skipped a practice because he saw players like this before, like Berglund, who's now a free agent now, like skip practice, and the team just left them behind. This is big for the Jackets because you have 2 huge UFAs in Bobrovsky and Panarin. Panarin's going to talk to his agent, of course, but signs like this means that Bobrovsky is done in Columbus, and would you want to hand the reins to Korpisalo right now? Even though Bobrovsky hasn't been playing well, he's still your starting goalie, and it's a tough situation for the Jackets, but I think the best option to do right now is to trade him because it seems like he's totally disinterested for playing with the team.
Yeah, that's the catch, though. Bobrovsky's value could not be lower. I mean, he is absolutely disgraceful, his play right now. I mean, and I'm saying that as someone who drafted him very high on my fantasy team. So he's really hurt me there. But I can only imagine how Blue Jackets fans feel. Let me read some stats for you. This season, he has a .906 save percentage, which is okay, but by his standards, it's terrible, especially when he had a .921 last year. Then, in the last month, he was starting to heat up. He had a .921, so exact same as the 2017 season. He was heating up. In the last 2 weeks, however, he has an .857 and an .846 in the last week. Specifically, goals allowed average last 2 weeks, 3.98, and in just this last week, 4.37. So something's wrong with him, and I don't know what's happening with him, but with how much money he was demanding in free agency, I don't see him re-signing. Panarin, they've entered into talks about an extension, and I could see him getting extended. But if you're the Blue Jackets, you got to look at it this way. Panarin isn't young. I mean, he is in his 20s, but this is his prime now. The Blue Jackets have a window to win. I don't think it's closing, but you want to win as soon as possible. Are you willing to risk that Bobrovsky doesn't put it together in the playoffs? And like you said, I would not trust Korpisalo. So do you think they should make a move at the deadline to get a new goalie? I don't know what else they could do, really.
Well, what other goalies are out there, like, besides Jonathan Quick? Maybe, like, Quick hasn't been playing that well. Like, you might just write off with Bobrovsky, but there's no other goalies in free agency. Like, if you really trust Korpisalo, you have to make sure, like,
I don't.
he is that good.
Yeah.
And like you said, Panarin, like, before the season, I was like, yeah, there's no way he's signed. But, since he's talked to his agent and he didn't see that billboard inside Columbus where Panarin actually saw it, took a picture on
that was...
But, I might be even 50-50 now. I would assume that the Jackets right now's focus is on Panarin, but, at the deadline, like, you probably need to trade Bobrovsky because you're not going to let him walk for nothing, but then who's your goalie? Because Korpisalo has been disastrous this year. Like, he's only played 15 games, but, an 889 save percentage and almost a 3.3 goals against average is not starter material, right? So, the Jackets are in a tough situation here.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know who they could get as a goalie. I mean, they could potentially go for Varlamov from Colorado, as it seems Grubauer is sort of becoming the starter, or Grubauer if they want him. But that's sort of risky. I mean, why would Colorado want to give him up? And they might not even work. So the Islanders have two goalies who are playing good, Greiss and Leonard. So maybe they could get one of those. But if you're the Islanders, why would you want to help out a division rival? It's just really tricky, and I don't know what they will do. I'm not sure what their options are, but they have a very good team. So it would be a shame for them if they were to not reach their full potential because of goalie. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our next topic. We're going to talk some Oilers first, then we'll get to Sharks. So I was at the Sharks-Oilers game where the Sharks won pretty convincingly, 7-2. Lucic did end his streak, and I mentioned this to Shaden by text, but if you didn't see it on TV, someone threw a hat onto the ice when he scored his first goal in 41 games. I thought that was pretty funny. But, the Oilers, they're currently sitting in there's two teams ahead of them that are out of the wild card spot. They have one game in hand over Anaheim, but they're 3 points out for that wild card spot. So, Shaden, what are your thoughts on the Oilers so far, and what does that loss really mean to this team?
So far, I think it's the team since our last podcast, and somehow they've gotten worse. Edmonton is really lucky that Anaheim is on a losing streak and they're not totally out of it just yet. But, getting shut out by the worst team in the league is just terrible.
Yeah, LA.
And losing two big games to Sharks back-to-back in which both these scored 7 goals, but, this team isn't good. The defense was bad that game, besides, Draisaitl, McDavid, and Nuge, who did set up Lucic's goal, by the way, you have no offense. Like, sure, Chase on 17 goals, but, who knows if he keeps it up next year, right? And no one's sure he's going to get, like, $5 million per year, but, you traded one of your top 9 forwards, which we'll get probably to later, but, there's no depth from this team. Like, that bottom 6 is absolutely garbage. Strome has been doing, I wouldn't say great. He's doing pretty okay with the Rangers. What has Spooner done? He only has 2 points with Edmonton. Like, these moves are blowing up in Shirley's faces. Talbot, Maybe there's one goal where I thought, you know what, it's okay, it's not your fault, but some of those pucks he needs to stop, whether it's deflected or not. You know, this team is playing like they did with McClellan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to think of this team, and I've said it before, or you've said it too. Maybe it would be better for them just to miss the playoffs, so Chiarelli gets fired. Maybe they get unbelievably lucky and win the lottery and get Hughes, or even second overall to get Kaká or however you
Kako.
Kako. Yeah, I mean, it might just be better in the long run for them to miss. So because right now they, I mean, I really think they're a mediocre team. Mediocre teams that they'll go one night where they look dominant against the Ducks, but then just the night before the Kings, look dominant against them. It's just you never really know what to expect with them. But what you can't expect is consistency, and I just don't think that they can be consistently good until Chiarelli is out.
No.
So we're gonna talk about the trades. So Shaden, you're the Oilers expert. So what are your thoughts on both of those trades?
I think Shirley right now is looking really dumb.
Yeah.
First of all, you traded a 6th-round pick for Weidman, then you flip Weidman and a third for Petrovic, who is an Eric Graba type of player, and you bought out Graba, who's making $900K at the time. You bought him out, and Petrovic's making 1.6. Basically, he's an overpayment. Then you bring in Brandon Manning, who let's just say had an involvement with the McDavid injury, and you trade away Drake Caggiula, who's 4th on your team in goals, when you know your team can't score anything, and you trade him away to Chicago. You bring in Manning, who's not that good, just saying, because he's been scratched on his terrible Blackhawks team, making 2.25 for this year and next year, and he's been scratched the last 3 MTs. And Petrovic just got injured too. I'll be honest, at the time, I liked the Petrovic deal because Weidman, he was terrible defensively with Edmonton, but Manning has just been a disaster. And I know Caggiula has been that great with Chicago. He has only played 2 games, of course, but I don't know what Chiarelli is doing here. I get it. We're missing Russell and Klefbom at the time. Klefbom is still out, but Chiarelli said in his interview that in his press conference that these aren't sexy players, which is saying, of course not sexy players. He says that these guys aren't going to play in the top 4. You're missing 2 players that play in our top 4, and you're just getting junk to replace them. Manning's a 7th defenseman on our team, and he's getting paid as a number 5 defenseman. Chris Russell's contract looks amazing compared to Brandon Manning's. And, I'm just confused of what Chiarelli's doing. My reaction when I heard that Caggiula and, Garrison, which I was happy that he was gone, for Brandon Manning was just terrible. It was Chiarelli, you're ruining this team. Then when Klefbom gets back, right, where else is Manning go? Is he the number 8 defenseman? Does he get waived? No one's taking that contract. Even the Hawks insider said that the Hawks thought Manning was untradeable. Chiarelli saw something in Manning. I wonder what it was. I'm just confused about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think anyone can really understand it at this point. I mean, really, I just don't get it what they're doing. But even though they're in the division, I just hope Chiarelli loses his job just because I really think he's wasting the career of McDavid. I got to see him in person, and while he didn't have a fantastic game, you can tell the talent's there, but it just sucks to see such talent go to waste. So we'll get to that in future podcasts. We'll keep you posted on what's happening with the Oilers. Now we're going to move on to the Sharks. Now, here's something I want to talk about quickly before I get into the rest of the team, and that's Erik Karlsson. Now, I took a lot of flack. I don't know if you guys noticed, but on the Instagram account, I pretty much said Karlsson was not a top 5 defenseman in the NHL in the midst of his 14-game point streak. So let me just say why I said that. Now, Karlsson, I don't think there's any doubt he's a top 5, if not top 3, offensive defenseman. So when it comes to offense, he's elite, okay? There's no question about it. What I don't like about him is how he plays on defense. Now, I saw him in Ottawa. I saw him play good on defense. But I think that because of how good he was in Ottawa and he had no help, when he comes to San Jose where there is help on defense, he's sort of, I would say, I wouldn't call him lazy, but I would say he's putting in less effort. And my main example was the Kopitar goal on the LA game where he pretty much glided and didn't do enough to stop it. But I do want to say I don't hate Karlsson. I think he's an amazing defenseman. I want the Sharks to re-sign him. I just think he needs to do better on defense. But that said, he's been a huge part of the Sharks' recent success, and the Sharks are playing well lately. You know, Evander Kane is scoring, which is good. On our last podcast, we mentioned that he was not doing enough. He's starting to pick things up. And they've got a huge game tonight against Vegas. I will have to miss it, unfortunately, because I have practice for my team. But, you know, that's going to be a huge game. And if you can watch it, I would recommend it. They're only 1 point apart. Vegas has a game in hand. Vegas is on a 7-game win streak. The Sharks are on a 4-game win streak. I mean, that's just going to be huge. And I can't wait to watch the highlights.
So, I kind of agree with you there. Well, first of all, I think it's a huge game between Vegas and Calgary. San Jose right now. I kind of agree with you. Karlsson started off slow with the Sharks, and he was suspended for those 2 games for what seemed like a really clean hit by the NHL, but the NHL referee
compared to Bennett's hit,
you get hit behind the numbers into the boards and no call when the ref is watching.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they definitely have been inconsistent.
But, I think Karlsson is, I wouldn't say he would sign an extension, but the Sharks do well in the postseason. I can definitely see him staying there, but, what do you think Karlsson's going to do in the offseason?
I honestly think he's going to leave, and, that's fine because it's his choice. Obviously, I'd want to re-sign him, but I just don't see it happening because I think he's going to want $14 million or something like that. When I think if Doughty took $11 million, I think Karlsson should take at most 12. I definitely don't think Karlsson should make more than McDavid. So, but I think he will because he'll be an unrestricted free agent and someone will pay him that. They have entered into discussions with the Sharks, or they said they will start discussions after the All-Star break. So we'll see how that goes, and I hope they can re-sign him. But if they can't re-sign him, that's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, we just got to try and win the cup this year, And if they can do that, then the trade will be worth it, and it doesn't matter if they re-sign him or not. But if they don't win the cup, then it is really important that they do re-sign him. But we'll see what happens. And now we're going to move on to our next topic. So what I wanted to talk about, I guess we sort of briefly mentioned them already, but Vegas. So Vegas on a 7-game win streak. After starting the year really slow, they've been on fire lately. So, Shaden, what do you think the key to their success is so far?
I just feel like because they had a lot of injuries in the year and then they had the Schmidt suspension, kind of slowed them down, but having all the pieces back together are really helping them. I also feel like, I don't think this team will do as well as they did last year. They'll probably, they'll probably finish second or third. I don't see them probably getting as high as Calgary because I think Calgary is really right now really unstoppable because they have great goaltending, a great forward core, but if I think Vegas needs another top 6 forward because sure you he replaced Pat Neal with Pacioretty in prime stats, but I feel like they still need like another top 9 forward to really kind of help them over the hump. Once again, I don't see them making it as far as the playoffs. I have them pegged as a first round exit, maybe in the early second round exit. But I think we all doubted Vegas wrong as we did last year too. So I guess the moral of the story is never count Vegas out.
Yeah, no, here's the thing. Hold on, I got a cough. 1 second. I'm pausing the show. Sorry about that. Still getting over my cold from last show. But anyway, yeah, no, Vegas, I think they're going to do really well. I actually do think Calgary, I don't think they can keep it up. And I don't think they'll win the division. I think it will be either Vegas or San Jose that does. But just because, I think Vegas is looking just very similar to last year. I sort of have to disagree just because I think they are really good. I don't think they'll make it to the Cup, though. And that's just because they still don't have a player over 40 points. I mean, Alex Tuck leads them in goals. I mean, he's good, but leads them in points, not goals. But I don't see it happening. William Karlsson is not playing as good as he was last year. He's only has 15 goals. He leads the team, but he should be scoring more based on what he did last year. Fleury's playing great, but I just don't think that I don't think they'll make it to the Cup final. And one reason is Pacioretty and Stastny have been disappointments. I mean, between them, they have 33 points. I mean, they should have 33 each. I know Stastny was injured, that he's only played 16 games, but really they should both be doing a lot better given how much they gave up for him. And that's the problem. I don't know if they'll be able to give up more for another rental player or something, just because of how much they've already given up. So we'll see what happens with Vegas. Will they make another match?
Like Pacioretty is getting paid like $7 million next year.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
He could be one of those players that enters the wrong side of 30.
He is 30 right now, and yeah, no, that is looking like a really bad contract. We will see what happens there, but yeah, I think they could end up really, really regretting that decision, but we'll see. Next, I'm going to talk about, if I can find my topics, we're going to talk about Tyler Seguin. So we actually just missed this on the last podcast. Shaden, both you and I, we called out Ben and Seguin, and then the next day, the owner called out Ben and Seguin on this pod. He used a lot more vulgar words than we did, but I think he was correct about how they were playing. They were not playing well enough. And since then, here's what's happened. Since those comments, Jamie Benn has added, I believe, 1 point. I think he had 31 the last time. Now he's 32. Maybe he added like 3 points. He hasn't done much. Tyler Seguin has absolutely caught fire. He now leads the team with 42 points. So, 2 different ways of responding to the criticism. What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I think this can mean something for Ben. I might be looking too much into it, but Ben is not responding that well to criticism. So, what if he wants to trade out? I think Seguin right now, he's on fire. Honestly, we can go either way to say who's better, Ben or Seguin. But Seguin is definitely taking the next level to his game, and honestly, I think that's one of the main reasons why Dallas has jumped into third in the Central, because Seguin has been playing well. I feel like, I don't know if Bishop's injured, I forgot, but the goaltender has been playing well, that defense is playing well, and Seguin really responded stronger to criticism. Now, Jim Light's calling them out. Like we said that they haven't been playing too well, but I feel like that should maybe been kept in private, because this generation of players is so much different. You shouldn't call out your best players out in public, and look what's happening to Ben, right? He's not producing at all. So I agree with what he said, but I don't agree with him just calling them out in public.
Yeah, and actually, I'm really glad that we mentioned it because we also missed this other piece of news that we're going to be talking about. Dallas is going to host the next Winter Classic, actually, which at the Cotton Bowl, a really historic stadium, and I'm hoping the Sharks get to play in one of these outdoor games. There are 3 next year, so we got the Winter Classic in Dallas. We got the Stadium Series. It's Calgary and Winnipeg in Saskatchewan, and then we got at the Air Force Academy in in Colorado. We got the Avalanche. So the road teams for the 2 games in the U.S. have not been announced. So I'm hoping that the Sharks will be one of them. And now I think we have just one more topic I wanted to talk about, and that's actually, it ties right into this, the Avalanche, who will be hosting one of those games. The Avalanche are not doing well. They are, in their last 10, they're 2-6-2. They've lost 2 in a row, and after having such a great start led by Rantanen, now they have really, really cooled down. So, what are your thoughts?
I feel like I might get hit on this, but I feel like the main reason why Colorado did so well is because that first line.
Yeah.
They have no scoring depth. Like, in my opinion, Eric Johnson is kind of overrated as a defenseman. Maybe they know he did go first overall. Barry and Girard, I feel like those are 2 great defensemen. I think they're playing together, which I kind of disagree with because because in my opinion I see Barry more of an offensive guy, and I know Girard is also an offensive guy, so I would probably split them up. Grubauer has been playing awful in Colorado. I think Varlamov has been okay, decent, but honestly, like the Avalanche need more scoring depth. They need better goaltending. It's been like this for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I remember you said this on our last show when they were still doing okay, but yeah, they've really fallen off. And, they're just sort of lucky that that the Western Conference is really top heavy. There's some really good teams and then a lot of mediocre teams. So that, I think, is one of the only reasons they haven't fallen out of the playoffs completely, but it could happen. We will see. Minnesota has 2 games in hand and is only 3 points behind them, so they could overtake them. Also relating with Colorado, though, even if they do miss the playoffs or make the playoffs, no matter what happens with them, they have a really good chance at getting the number 1 prospect, Jack Hughes, because Ottawa is not playing well. Currently, Ottawa sits at 37 points. They're tied with LA in both points and regulation and overtime wins. Only Philadelphia is worse than them. But Ottawa, because they chose to pick Brady Tkachuk, who hasn't done much in a while, he was hot early on, but he has hit a big cold streak. They could end up losing. They will end up losing their first round pick this year. So, hindsight's looking like it was a bad decision to make the pick last year.
So, I don't know how Chabot has been playing right now because he did start off the year on fire. Everything's going wrong in Ottawa. They just got back for Joe, but right now Duchesne talks have cooled down. I don't think he resigns there because why would he want to play in a rebuilding market like he went through in Colorado, right? Mark Stone might not return. If you have those 2 guys gone, who do you have on board besides Brady Tkachuk? He has no one to play with.
Yep.
Like, if you lose one or even both of those assets, you're gonna be bad for a while because you're not gonna get one of Jack Hughes or Capo Caco. And what next year you lose out on the draft lottery like you did the year before that. Like you just did the Darlene draft and you miss out on Lafreniere. From day one, everyone knew Ottawa overpaid for Matt Duchesne.
Yep. Yeah.
But no one expected after getting Duchesne the Ottawa Senators would have this much of a downfall. And if I was Ottawa, I disagreed with them keeping the 2018 pick over 2019. Because if they knew they were going to trade Carlson and Hoffman, they probably knew they were going to suck. So why, would you rather take a franchise defenseman and you have a couple good defensemen in Lajoie and Chabot, or would you take a franchise center or a franchise capable winger? It doesn't make sense. And honestly, Pierre Dorian should get run out of town. He traded another prospect in Jonathan Dowling for Alex Burrows, who's not playing in the NHL. Ottawa has no more prospects down the pipeline. I don't think Logan Brown is that good, to be honest. And besides Phil Gustafson, you have no forward prospects coming up. So I think Ottawa will be screwed for a while.
Yeah, other than Rudolph Balcers and Josh Norris, who they got from the Sharks, I don't think there's anyone really to be that excited about. Balcers is actually playing in the NHL already. Norris was on the U.S. World Junior team. But yeah, I mean, I think Ottawa, I understand why they took Tkachuk, because it's a bad message to send to your fans if you're saying, oh yeah, we think we're going to suck this year. And so then no one's going to want tickets. But at the same time, you have to be realistic. And that's going to be it for the show. I had to record the last part. My audio cut out at the end there. But I hope you guys enjoyed. The links to my and Shaden's social